here on GoPSUSports.com in the Beaver Stadium locker room on Bowl Media Day. Coach, this has obviously got to be a crazy busy time, an exciting announcement for you. Congratulations. But what has life been like in the last couple of weeks for you?
Well, thank you. Yeah, it has been crazy, between wrapping up recruiting, trying to game plan for a very good Washington defense, and just, trying to make sure that, I'm carrying on all the great things that have been established here over the last 2 years, but also, putting my own stamp on it. So it's been exciting, something I've worked for a long time, so it's been good.
With this earlier signing day kind of coming up, what's the level of excitement right now, maybe nerves around the Lash building in anticipation of, big day?
I think it's excitement. I mean, we've worked on some of these kids for 2-3 years, so it's not, I don't think there's as much nerves as maybe people might think. We've really established great relationships with the players, with the parents, with the coaches. So it's more about excitement of finally getting these guys, in our family, and being able to see how we can, add them to our already great core and win a Big Ten and national championship with these guys.
Right after the announcement came out that you'd be moving to offensive coordinator, Coach Franklin talked a lot about, relationships and really wanting to, move within the staff and looking to you because of the relationships that you had. When you think about your entire relationship with Coach Franklin and his family and everything, where have you seen it grow the most, and how meaningful was it that, that was a big part of the decision?
I've grown up in the coaching profession with Coach Franklin, as a boss and as a mentor, and I think that that's something that's been important. I mean, it was only my 3rd year in coaching when I met him. I probably was a little raw and gruff probably at times, and I've grown up a lot with him, and he's been able to show me a lot of different ways of, how to communicate with people, how to deal with certain situations and things like that. So, it's been a blessing to be around a guy like that. It's been, one of the things that's been unbelievable is just the other people he hires, being around, guys like, Coach Moorhead and Coach Pry and Coach Spencer and things like that, Coach Limegrover, those guys have been great, teachers to me, and then guys like Coach Gaddis and I have been able to grow up in the profession together. And I think that that's really going to help us as we go into next year and game plan, because we have such a great relationship as an offensive staff.
Coach Franklin also talking about you being involved in the recruitment of every single quarterback, here on the roster. Obviously, we've asked you that about Trace McSorley before, but, what do you see in kind of the excitement for, what's here right now with guys like Tommy Stevens and Trace McSorley, but, what could still be to come in the future?
Yeah, I think just on offense in general, I think we've got some great playmakers, some great young players who, maybe their time hasn't come yet, but it will, and so I'm excited about, obviously it's always tough to lose guys like, Mike Gesicki and Deshaun Hamilton, but, there's other guys coming up through the pipeline that we think can be great playmakers for us and do some great things. At the quarterback position, obviously people have got glimpses of what Tommy can do.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty exciting. And, I think, Sean Clifford and Jake and those guys, I think their time will come eventually too, and I'm really excited of what they've shown in the classroom and what the limited reps they have got on the field of what they can do. So I think in general the future's bright, and we just got to keep building on what we've done.
Taking it back a little bit, you mentioned somebody like Mike Gesicki earning those All-Big Ten honors. I think it was Sporting News All-America honor as well. What's it been like from you from a coaching standpoint to be able to see him in this entire journey that he's been on, be able to receive these type of accolades heading into his final game in the blue and white? Yeah,
Mike's a special player to me. I part of it is just how hard he works and all those sort of things. He's helped make the last 2 years of these last 2 years probably the most enjoyable I've had in a long time, just because he's a fun guy to coach, and quite frankly that entire room is. I mean, Tom Pancoast is one of the funnier people you're ever going to be around. He's very dry, but he's very funny, and Nick Bowers is a great guy to be around. John Holland, Danny Dalton, all those guys are great guys to be around all the time, and so that room's been special to me. But it's been really great to see Mike, achieve all of his goals, live up to his vast potential, and I'm going to be sad to see him go, obviously, because he's such a great playmaker and probably a better person. But I know his future's bright, and he's going to be, very, very successful. And I'm going to, whatever team is able to get him is going to be very lucky.
earlier in today's media day session, Coach Franklin kind of talking about coordinators staying back from the road a little bit to kind of work on some game planning ahead of Washington and the Fiesta Bowl. Where do you kind of feel like you guys are at right now working with the graduate assistants and what they've come up with in terms of putting the final details and ironing out things in this game plan?
Well, our graduate assistants and consultants, Mark Dupuis, Sean Cascarano, Will Raymond, and Kurt Campbell, they've done an unbelievable job of preparing, and they had a lot of stuff ready for me to go, and they had a lot of ideas and kind of showed me kind of some things so that, yeah, I'd watched maybe 3-4 games, but they were able to even get a better feel on it. And so I thought we had some great game planning. We've got a good base. There's a couple things that I want to get with the assistants on to make sure that we're all on the same page on some things. But overall, I thought those guys did an unbelievable job. And we've got, they're great coaches, and they've all got bright futures in this profession. So it was they were a huge help to me. And one thing is that I trust those guys, and those guys have shown to be worthy of the trust. I know Coach Moorhead trusted them, and now I've kind of been able to pick up on that.
And my last question for you, a little bit more big picture. We've seen this offense, obviously explosive, exciting to watch, all of those things. But now as the Penn State's offensive coordinator, where do you see it continuing to grow?
Yeah, I think that's the key, is just continuing to grow, seeing how people are going to try to defend us and continuing to develop ways to attack people's adjustments. Obviously I'm not going to fix something that isn't broke. And that's not what we're going to do. But we do want to keep taking it to the next level so that we can continue to progress and get to continue to be at a championship level. So I think that's the key, is just being able to see how our team's going to attack us into the future, and then what our adjustments are in there.
Well, thank you so much, and we look forward to catching up with you again in Arizona.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.